Hey guys, today we're making Miso Eggplant, Nasu Miso Dengaku, or Nasu Shigi-yaki in Japanese. It's an eggplant dish with sweet miso sauce. Sauce is very easy to make, and you cook the eggplant, put it on top. It's completely vegan, very easy to make, and very tasty. So let's get started. Here's a list of ingredients for this dish. I will also talk about substitute for mirin during the video. So to cook for 2 persons, I'm using 1 Chinese eggplant. You can actually use any type of eggplants. For the sauce, we're using miso. This is shiro miso without dashi, but whatever miso you have in your house will be fine. We're using mirin. This is real mirin with alcohol. Again, if you don't have mirin, there are some substitutes I'll talk about. We're using sugar. I use brown sugar, but any types of sugar. Is soy sauce. I'm using tamari here. You can use regular soy sauce. So we're using 1 tablespoon of miso, 1 tablespoon of mirin, 1 tablespoon of sugar, and soy sauce we're using just 1 teaspoon. A substitute for mirin would be white wine, sherry, or sake and a little bit more sugar. So again, that was 1 tablespoon each of miso, mirin, sugar, and 1 teaspoon of soy sauce. Now let's cook the sauce. We're using a small saucepan. Put all the sauce ingredients in the pan or pot. You can just measure and pour onto the pot directly. I'm doing it this way for the sake of making a video. We're setting the heat at low, and you're going to start mixing all the sauce ingredients. Sugar and miso, you're trying to dissolve. Miso is a little difficult to dissolve, so you're going to constantly be mixing mainly the miso. Make sure your heat of the burner is at low. Miso and sugar are also easy to burn, so you want to cook this sauce slowly. So at low heat, by the time miso and sugar dissolves, it'll be about bubbling in about a minute or so. It's quick. Just be patient and keep mixing, breaking all those big chunks of miso up. Now this pot is about to bubble, and also all the ingredients are fairly mixed. I'm still constantly mixing. You see some steam coming off, and the edges are starting to bubble. Once it bubbles, you still want to keep mixing because, like I said, miso and sugar are easy to burn. Now the whole sauce is bubbling. You keep the heat at low. You keep mixing. At this point, we're evaporating the alcohol content of mirin and thickening the sauce. About a minute after your sauce starts to bubble, the alcohol content of mirin is evaporated and the sauce is thickened. You turn the burner off. The sauce is done. Now let's cut the eggplant. The Chinese eggplant I'm cutting vertically, but if you're using an oval eggplant, you can cut them horizontally too. I peel these top parts off, cut the very top, and I actually peel those green parts off diagonally. This kind of looks nicer than just chopping that whole part off, and that part is edible. Now slice that eggplant in half, and you're gonna put knives into both of these pieces. Here I'm just slicing diagonally, but not all the way through, about ½ inch depth on the skin side and the meat side. I do this so that it cooks evenly, and also the skin is a bit tougher than the meat. So by doing this, you soften the skin also. Now I have a little water in a bat. I'm going to soak these eggplants, first the meat side facing down, and then flip the skin side, both about 30 seconds. If you're cooking the eggplants right away, you didn't have to do that process, but if you aren't cooking it right away, soaking it in water prevents eggplants from turning color. If you did the water part, you're going to pat them dry, and we're ready to cook the eggplants. Heat up a pan that fits your eggplant at medium heat. Once the pan is heated, I use sesame oil because it has a nice aroma. This is about 2 tablespoons of oil. Eggplant soaks up the oil, so you want to use a good amount of oil. Or if you have a grill, you can grill the eggplants too if you're conscious of how much oil you're going to use. Put the eggplants in facing down. And we're cooking both sides of eggplants about 2 to 3 minutes each. The heat is at medium. My pan is actually not really big enough, so I'm moving the eggplants around a little bit so that those edges would cook evenly. But if you use a big enough pan, you can just leave this to cook. It's just about 3 minutes on the meat side now, so we're going to flip. I actually noticed the top part is still a little on the white side. Even if you don't have a sear, if it's turned brown, it means that part is cooked, so you can move on. But mine was still a little on the white side, so I'm giving it a little bit more time. But also don't want to burn. The middle part has a nice sear, but if I go on too long, it could burn, and that's gonna be bitter. And if you don't have a pan that's big enough, you can always cut that eggplant one more time in half, which is probably what I should have done. Now I've decided that was about the limit in terms of the middle part, so I flipped, and we're gonna cook this side for 2 to 3 minutes again. You can use your cooking utensils to poke at the parts that you're not sure if they're cooked or not. If they're soft, then they're done. take them onto the plate. Grab the sauce that you made earlier and just spread them onto the eggplant as much as you like. I sprinkled some roasted sesame seeds and the dish is done. Here's miso eggplant, Nasu no Miso Dengaku or Nasu no Shigi-yaki, and enjoy. Now here are the keys to making this dish. Number 1, cook the sauce slowly on a pot with low heat. You don't want to burn the sauce. Number 2, put a little knife work in the eggplant before you cook. This ensures even cooking and it also softens the skin of the eggplant. And finally, number 3, use plenty of oil in the pan when you're cooking the eggplant, or you can use the grill to cook the eggplant. This is a very easy, tasty side dish, so I hope you try it out at home. Thanks for watching.